Welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today we talk about Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters. Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters was made in 2013. It was based off of this novel, which I am currently reading right now again because this made me want to read the book because the book is like 13,000 times better than the movie, which is just awful because the book isn't even particularly that great, if you ask me. Anyway, very disappointed right now, okay? I'm so disappointed. And I was disappointed years ago when I was 12 and I went to see this in the movie theater. That's right, I saw this in the movie theater with some friends because I was a huge Percy Jackson fan. I'm still a huge Percy Jackson fan. Are you kidding me? This is about to be a very angry review. I'm very sorry for anyone who doesn't like seeing me angry. I'm going to be angry throughout this whole thing. In my first review for the first movie, I said I wasn't going to judge it based on the book. And I'm still going to try my darndest to do that. But it's going to be pretty difficult because they are nowhere near the same. First of all, the name. The first one is called Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the Lightning Thief, which, if you can see here, is a label on every one of the books. It's Percy Jackson and Olympians, the Sea of Monsters, Percy Jackson and Olympians, the Titan's Curse, blah 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 blah. Okay, but no, this movie's just Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters. It's like the title is calling Percy Jackson the Sea of Monsters. Like, come on, what kind of, who does, why did you do, why did you do that? You could have just not done it and it would have been better. I don't. The movie was directed by Thor Fredenthal and written by Mark Guggenheim, whom I blame all of my problems on. The main issue with this movie is just the writing, and I think the directing was good based on the writing, but the writing, I don't know why it got screwed up here. I don't know how it got this bad. But here's a brief overview of the movie Sea of Monsters. Percy Jackson is at camp. Yep, we just start at camp. Not what happens here. We start at camp. And he's doing this rock wall climbing thing, which is really cool actually. I really did enjoy that. Um and Clarice is like the camp hero to Mr. D, who is Dionysus, who isn't in the first movie, which is ridiculous. And I can get through this. I can do it. I can do it. And essentially, what happens is the tree that was Thalia, who is pronounced Talia in this, which I'm pretty sure it's Thalia. Whatever. To each their own. The tree that was daughter of Zeus got turned. Well, all right. The person Thalia, who was a person, got turned into a tree because she died, and Zeus felt bad for Thalia, which is not at all how it happens in the novels. I will get there. I promise. And then the tree gets poisoned by someone. Everyone assumes it's Luke, who we mentioned in the first review for the first movie. And so they send Clarice on a quest to go get the Golden Fleece, which is the only way to preserve the tree. And Percy Jackson and Annabeth and Grover are like, nah, we gotta go. So then they went as well, following behind them. And they go into the Sea of Monsters, they get the fleece, and then Luke shows up, takes the fleece, puts it on this casket, and then Kronos is reformed already. And Percy Jackson kills him in about, I think it's literally, the fight is like 3 minutes long. And then they bring the fleece back, and then Thalia is alive. And that's the end of the movie. And also the end of the franchise. Let's talk about the book, shall we? I forgot to mention Tyson because Tyson was very unimportant in this movie. Tyson is a Cyclops who is the son of Poseidon. And in the book, Percy goes to high school, or middle school, I guess, at this point, like a normal human being, and meets this guy named Tyson whose eyes are shrouded. You can see that he has two eyes. It's hard to tell, but he's got two eyes. And then eventually they end up bringing him to Camp Half Blood because Percy's got to run away from these Lastrygonians, who are these basically giant man-eating cannibal giants. And what happens there is they find out that Tyson is a Cyclops because the mist was showing Percy that there's two eyes. Mist is this thing that shows mortals what monsters look like to them, which is a really cool idea by Rick Riordan that was just thrown away by this movie because in order to what happened was we see two eye or one eye all the time because Tyson just shows up at the camp. Like there's no person bringing him there. He just shows up and is a Cyclops the whole time. And then Annabeth gives him this mist in a bottle, which sprays on himself, which is ridiculous. Ridiculous. That is not at all what I wanted from this movie, from this book. And then the rest of it is like pretty close. I mean, Tantalus isn't there, and Tantalus is in the book, and it's very important. Nope, they're like, nah, skip that. Then like most of it's pretty similar until we get to the part where the fleece is put on Kronos's casket, and all of a sudden Kronos is rebuilt. What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Guys, we don't even see Kronos until the fourth book. The fourth book. And we don't even really get to see a fight until the fifth book, which is the entire book. The entire book is basically a giant war, which is awesome. And they condensed... They took the Titan's Curse, the Battle of the Labyrinth, and the Last Olympian, all three novels, and condensed it into about a 5-minute segment of this movie. And then they finished the second book. So the timeline for this movie is book 1. The first 174 pages of book 2. Book 3, 4, and 5 in 5 minutes. But wait. And then they end it with the last page of the Sea of Monsters. Great idea. Great idea. What a good idea. I don't understand why this had to happen. I think they should have just not made this movie at all. That being said, if I was judging this just purely based on a movie, it wouldn't be awful, and here's why. So, the story itself is okay. It's not great. I really hated the fact that the final battle was like 3 minutes long. It's like, what was the point of watching this movie then, if the climax is going to be so short? And then here's some continuity issues between both movies. So first of all, the first movie was directed by Chris Columbus, who is a credit to his genius. And then this movie is directed by Thor Fredenthal, which I don't think he did a bad job. I don't think he did a bad job. But Christopher Columbus would have kicked ass and like really made this shine. The directing isn't the problem. The writing is definitely the problem. I don't even remember who wrote the first one. I don't even care. I'm just so mad. So anyway, they made a lot of cosmetic changes in between these two movies that just shouldn't have happened, if you ask me. So first of all, let's talk about the first one on my list, Annabeth. Annabeth in the first book has dark hair. Sorry, the first movie has dark hair. But in the book, she's blonde. So then they make her a blonde for the second film, even though in the first film she had darker hair. Which bothers me because that's a continuity issue between both movies. They never address it. It's like, oh, my natural hair color, blah, blah, blah. Which means that they probably just adapted this book without looking at their first adaptation of the first book, which they need to do. I don't care how bad the first one was, which it wasn't really that bad, considering a couple things could have been way worse. But then they decided to change that, and I was like, why? 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 I don't know why. I wish I knew why. I don't know why they had to do that. That being said, I mean, I wish the first book she had been blonde in the first place, but she wasn't, so whatever. Anyway. Clarice in the book is supposed to be very ugly. She's like basically this man girl that can fight things, and instead she is a gorgeous human being. and that makes me mad as a media watcher. And here's why: because they didn't want to make a main character a quote unquote unattractive person, because then no one would want to watch the movie, which is just absolutely false, for one. For two, that's so rude. Like, come on. I don't understand why they had to do that. It's like not every person is cosmetically gorgeous. And essentially this person who's literally just a warmonger, like this person just loves to fight, and like she should have scars, she should have bruises, it shouldn't be perfect. And she's this perfect girl, and I'm like, come on, like come on. It's supposed to be like this big burly woman, and instead it's like this petite gorgeous human being. I just don't understand why they. I mean, I guess I do understand. I'm just mad about it. I just don't get why the movie industry has to be like that. It wouldn't have made a difference to anybody watching if this person was slightly less attractive. Really, in fact, it would have made it better for me, in my opinion. But that's a me issue. I'm sure people will disagree with me. That's okay. You're allowed to disagree. That is what this is for. The last difference I'm going to talk about before I go into some brief acting and then wrap it up is Chiron, who was originally played by Pierce Brosnan, and then for some reason gone. They're like, nah, not feeling it anymore. And then Anthony Head came in and played that part. I'm wondering if Pierce Brosnan read the script and was like, no, I really don't know. I can't testify for why. I didn't research it, because I do my research after I watch the movies, after I film my reviews. I don't get why that had to happen, and at this point, just get rid of the character then, because you seem to do that quite fine with every other. Whatever, I'm done. All right, next, acting. Logan Lerman. I love Logan Lerman. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. The issue with this though is he seemed very uncomfortable. You can tell when an actor doesn't want to play a part. This felt like that. In the first one, he seemed in his element. He seemed comfortable and he really liked it. And then for the second movie, he just seemed like he didn't really care. Which, to be fair, good for you, because he didn't. I don't like it either. He publicly said after making this movie that he did not enjoy filming this movie. He did not like being a part of this movie. If there was a third movie, he would not have been a part of it. Um, a lot of that probably has to do with um, just the overall botching of the books. Um, I mean, because Logan Lerman knew that the fan base was just not going to enjoy the movie, which is why there wasn't a third one. There was barely a second one because they just didn't. The adaptation just wasn't good, which is why I'm hoping the Disney Plus series coming out is going to be good. I don't think Logan Lerman's going to star in it, and I don't think it's going to have Alexandria Daddario, which is very sad because they're both great and they're both gorgeous, and I would have loved to keep watching them play their parts. But alas, probably not going to happen. I'm wondering if they might actually make them regular aged too, because in the movies they're like 4 years older than they're supposed to be in the novels. I don't know what they're going to do. We will see. Alexandria Daddario as Annabeth, who is gorgeous as hell. And I mean, she did great. She's always good. I think she did a particularly good job in this movie, more so than I think the second one. I think she got more into her character in this one. There's a lot of Annabeth problems that I didn't enjoy with this film, like slight spoilers. In the last part, she dies, and I'm like, that was a dumb way to die. They just fought Kronos for 3 minutes, and then you're just gonna say that she got stabbed by a hellhound? No, I don't believe that Annabeth would have had that happen. But that was not a Daddario thing. That is more of a Guggenheim thing. Brandon T. Jackson as Grover. Good job, not great. It was disappointing because the writer, I don't know if it's the same writer, but the writing, I should say, for the first movie for Grover was fantastic. I loved it every time Grover was on screen. I had a fun time. I really enjoyed it, and he was funny and sarcastic and great. And in this one, we get a little bit of that, but for the most part, it's just boring from Grover, which is so sad because we need more Grover, and I am very upset about it. And it has something to do with Brandon T. Jackson because he did a wonderful job. Good for you. And it has everything to do with the writing and the creating of the film and deciding that they didn't want a lot, which is just, I don't, whatever. Douglas Smith as Tyson the Cyclops was good. I think the issue is the writing, and I think that maybe the casting decision should have been a little different. I think they got the look for Tyson correct, but he's supposed to have like a low growly voice and a lot of scars on his body, and they didn't have any of that. Just no. Why would we do that? No. It's only the source material. Well, why would we want? Oh, so mad. That was one of the big ones that I would have decided on a casting change, would be that one. And it has nothing to do with the actor's ability. He did a wonderful job. It has more to do with the overall look and aesthetic and the feel and the gravelly voice that just wasn't portrayed with Tyson. Levin Rambin as Clarice. And again, I mentioned this before. She's gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, she's gorgeous. But she's not supposed to be gorgeous in this movie. So why is she gorgeous? I need answers. I need to know why. She's not a daughter of Aphrodite. She's a daughter of Ares, the god war, the war of God, the war of God, the god of war. I'm very tired. Again, I would have probably changed casting there. Jake Abel as Luke. Good job for the most part. A boring villain, a really boring villain, and I just really. He wasn't great in the first one, and he wasn't great here. I mean, he was fine. I don't think the actor was bad. I think it was just. I mean, I don't even really like Luke as a character in the books either. It's just not my favorite villain, and it portrays here as well. That's about all I can stand to talk about for this film. I could probably talk for a couple hours. If anyone wants to contact me about this one, I know I have friends who also feel this way. Feel free to talk about it. I would love to start a thread on Facebook. I'll join. I'm gonna give this film a C plus, which might seem high for a few of you considering the negative reviews. But the reason that it's really high is the special effects for this movie were amazing. If you watch this movie, really pay attention to the special effects. They are wonderful. They are a credit to their work, and also the acting was for the most part really, really good. The only really big negative thing I had was the adaptation, which is awful, and the writing, which I think was sloppy. All right. Well, that about does it for here. Join the Facebook group, link in the description below. Subscribe, like for more, and as always, keep watching movies and TV shows. Keep staying up in that media, and I will see you guys in the next video.